Debbie, you could say at the coal faces of all of this, and really in the same way that Ian is. What are you seeing? What can you tell us? Obviously, not naming any names or anything like that, but what are the sorts of things that are going on?
There's all sorts, Vanessa, and I think the first thing is to reiterate what Ian said, that it's really important that we're having these conversations from the off. There are all sorts of different circumstances, and a couple that I'll touch on that perhaps Ian hasn't covered.
Yeah.
A lot of the work we do with young people who have caused harm to others, so who have exhibited harmful sexual behaviour, some of these will have been vulnerable online themselves. So we'll often work with young people once they've been arrested for viewing and sharing indecent images of children. And as Ian's described, there's lots of different ways that that can happen for young people. Often what we see are vulnerable people online who have been approached by adults, and they've been encouraged to take, share, send, source images of young people themselves, and then they've been drawn into the behaviour.
Right.
But there's also the very real influence of pornography, and I think we can't have this conversation without raising this, that if we think our children aren't watching pornography, then we're very much mistaken. And what we see in a lot of the cases that we're having parents call our helpline, our Stop It Now helpline, saying my 14-year-old has been watching extreme amounts of pornography with very violent content. What can we do to help him? What can we do about this issue? This is a really big problem, and the influence that it's having on young people shouldn't really be underestimated.
And I mean, absolutely, I would concur. I would underline everything you've just said, and I'm quite sure Ian will feel exactly the same. But Deborah, do you have any suggestions at all about helping or stopping this? Because when you say, if you think your child is not watching pornography, you're wrong. He or she is watching pornography. It's as if that's the end point. Is there anything that can be done to stop it, to curb it, to restrict it, or anything of that kind? Or is it just completely out of the box now in terms of, nobody can stop it, really?
No, I don't think anything's out of the box at this point. And what we need to understand is that these are difficult conversations, which you've just alluded to, talking to our children about pornography and the implications of watching it, and understanding the difference between pornography and real life and relationships and boundaries and consent is really very important. But also we need to make sure that our young people have an avenue to get help and support. We've recently launched a website and a live chat for young people who are concerned about what they themselves are doing online, how they're thinking and feeling, perhaps about their peers or younger children, so that they themselves can reach out and get help. And they need to know that they can do that in a very safe fashion. So our Sure website allows them to do that. We also need parents to be able to think if they need help, they can get help, and that they can have the conversations and seek help if they need it. They are difficult, it is hard, but it's not all on parents either. And I think I wouldn't want to leave this interview without flagging up the responsibility that tech companies play here, and pornography companies are the responsibility that they have as well. With the Online Safety Act, we have a real opportunity to implement robust age verification to help prevent some of this viewing of what is really violent pornography on our young people. So we need to make sure that we get that implemented as best we can, and we're working with our partners to make sure that that happens.